Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's tutorial. For the course COMPS 313F, this week tutorial comes to tutorial 4. As usual, the tutorial files is already uploaded and released on the OLE. You can download both the documentation and the solution through the handout text. Okay. Same as previous week. We already provide you a zip file which contain both the documentation and the .apk file for your testing purpose. Okay, maybe I now share the screen to you. Okay, that is the file that extract from the download zip file. Okay. Same as before, in this week, we will show you a native Android application, as I mentioned, which corresponding to the JSON manipulation. I hope that it can help you to complete or achieve the good project more easier. Okay. 嗱，咁同過往嘅安排一樣啊，咁我哋都係喺 OLE 度俾咗啲 file 俾你去睇翻。咁我哋今個禮拜咁希望可以 demonstrate 到俾大家做嘅一個 example。OK， 咁當中有個 document 啦，咁有一個嘅package file 啦，咁可以試嘅，得唔得嚇？咁又係啦嚇，咁我哋先開咗個 project 先啦，咁跟住咧再即係翻轉頭討論翻我哋要做嘅一樣嘢。咁而今個禮拜咧，咁嘗試去demonstrate 一個 example， 就係點樣可以 access 到一個JSON 嘅一個 file 喺入邊就攞到啲資料出嚟做 display。咁希望可以即係即係俾到個 example 大家參考，方便大家可以即係做到嗰個 project 啦，得唔得嚇？咁當然啦，即係唔係 limit to 呢一個 example 嘅，即係我成日都強調就係個 project。要有咩嘅分數，咁 depends on 你擺幾多時間同埋做到有幾多效果出嚟咯，得唔得嚇？咁呢個當然呢個 demo 當然係即係一個最基本嘅一個即係component 啦嚇。Okay, basically through this example as I mentioned, provide you the elementary information about how to manipulate with the JSON and obtain the content or record from the JSON file, okay, which is the elementary component for handling the group project. Of course, you can, on top of these kinds of example, to provide more information or to illustrate more details about the weather information in your final version. Okay. Same as before, maybe I just create an example project first. Okay. 咁呢個就我都唔慢慢再重複咁多次啦咁就撳俾大家睇就 OK 啦，係咪？Maybe I think I don't need to repeat so many times about those details in the configuration or project creation. Okay, I simply go through the process. Okay. While the project is creating, now maybe I back to the documentation. As you can see that today's tutorial, we are going to develop an application that aims to show up the contact info. The contact info is obtained from an online JSON file. Okay, you will be shown the URL corresponding to this JSON file later. Before that, just would like to demonstrate about the operation of this example. Basically, this is just the default screen about the application. That means once the application is launched, then it will start to connect to the internet and access the JSON file through the provide URL. After that, the JSON file is downloaded and try to pass the JSON in order to retrieve this record. Okay, of course, in the JSON file, the data corresponding to each person is not just limited to these three information. Okay, in this screen, you can see that those records are arranged in a list format. Okay, this list is just one example of adapter view. If you can still remember in the UI that I illustrated in lecture section, we have button, we have text view, and one category is named as adapter view. Okay, in the adapter view, it may contain spinner, list view, gallery, and so on. Okay, and here the components used to display these records are just the list view. Okay, that means you can use the list view to provide a list of records. For example, here the contact. Maybe I just have to refresh your memory about the adapter view. Okay, here, just one of the UI that you can use in Android system. Okay, this is what we call the gallery. The elements or records are arranged horizontally. You can provide image together with text. Okay, of course, in this example, I simply use text. Okay, and do not include any image within the adapter view item. This one is list view. Okay, which is like the one used in this example. Arrange those records vertically. Okay, as I mentioned, in this example, I just put text as the information of each item. Okay, instead of these two, we also have grid view. Just arrange those records in row and columns. And the last one is the spinner. Okay, actually spinner is like a pull down menu. Okay, just show one of the item, and then you can click on the item, and then a list will be pulled down, and then you can select one of the item from this list. Okay, these are what we call the adapter view. 咁啊，幫大家回憶下少少我哋 lecture 上講過嘅嘢先嚇。當我哋有一紮 record 要即係 show 喺嗰個 screen 上高咧，咁有一啲我哋叫 adapter view 嘅，得唔得？咁我哋舉個例，呢度頭先都講咗啦，有 gallery 啦、list view 啦、grid view 啦、spinner， 當然唔止 limit to 呢一紮嚇，又係即係純粹舉幾個例子啫。咁仲有其他嘅嚇，譬如 recycler view 啦。OK， 咁呢啲咧就係幫我哋去將 multiple item 可以有效地 list 喺個畫面上高嘅一啲 view 嘅 component。OK， 咁啊 gallery 打橫擺 ，list view 打直擺，跟住 grid view row column 咁樣擺 ，spinner pull down menu 咁樣擺，就係類似呢啲概念啦。嚇。咁當然啦，呢度呢啲 screen capture 就有埋 image 啦。咁但係我哋今次做呢一個咧，咁我哋就即係我就將佢簡單咗少少，係簡單化啲啦。嚇，咁就純粹擺低一紮 text 嘅 information 嘅啫。OK， 咁就冇擺 image 落去。咁當然啦，即係suppose 咁如果你想即係再整理每一個 item 嘅一個 layout 咧，都可以嘅。好似我呢度咁樣嚇，咁其實都每一個 item 咧分別就擺咗3樣嘢嘅嚇，咁有個名啦，有個 email 啦，有埋個地址，跟住咧 就再customize 當中，譬如個名可能個顏色係紫紫地色啊咁，跟住個 email 可能藍藍啲色啊咁樣嚇，咁有少少即係關於嗰個 design 上高，你可以加啲 style 落去都得嘅嚇。咁呢個就係想俾大家睇嘅一個 example，咁一個叫 adapter view 入邊嘅 list view 嘅用法。OK， as I mentioned in this tutorial, the list view is used. Therefore, you can see the records are illustrated and displayed in vertical direction. Okay. Each contact is displayed as an item of the list view. 咁一個 contact 咧就係一個 item 嘅形式嚇，即係喺 list view 入邊咧，頭先講咗好多 record 可以 display， 每一個 record 我哋叫一個 item。And then for each item, you can see there are totally 3 data will be presented. The first one is the name, and then the second one is the email, and then the third one is the address. Okay, that means for each item, it consists of 3 text view. Okay, therefore it is a customized list view. Later on, through the implementation, I will show you how to design a particular layout for an item of the list view and how to integrate them together. Okay. And then for the list view, you can click on any item, okay, as you like. For example, I click on Johnny. Then in this example, a dialog will be displayed in order to show the mobile of the person. Okay. That means apart from just simply apply the list view to the layout, it also supports interaction. Okay, you can select one of the items, and then it also provides you a mechanism for handling the item selection. Okay, simply use the one that you have come across in previous tutorial. Okay, of course the listener or the callback function name is different from button click event. Okay, but still applying the same mechanism. Okay, this one is just a simple dialog that can be used in Android environment. Okay, in this example, I simply provide the title and message content of the dialog. The title is the name, and then the content is the mobile. Of course, it is also not limited to these 2 information. Okay, you can still include buttons to the dialog. Okay, another information can also be added, and also the dialog layout can also be customized. Okay, but this is not included in this example. 嗱，咁我哋呢個 list 唔係就咁 show 出嚟啊，你可以 click 落去嘅嚇。click 落去嘅時候咧，咁 suppose 咧都係用翻同一個嘅 event handling 嘅 mechanism 嘅啫。其實即係譬如之前咪講過listener 關於 button 嘅嚇，咁呢一個 approach 咧 suppose 都係類似嘅嚇。咁係有個 callback function， 咁跟住我哋就喺個 callback function 度寫翻嗰個handling。咁而家都係一樣嚇，即係我意思係 list view item click 嘅 event 都係一樣咁處理。咁只不過咧，即係當然嗰啲function 名會唔同啦。咁陣間你會見到嚇。咁我哋 click 落去嘅時候咧，咁嗰個 handling 係咩咧？個 logic 就係會彈咗個 dialog 出嚟咯嚇。嗱，呢個就係一個最 simple 嘅 dialog，咁淨係得嗰個 message 同埋個 title 嘅啫。咁個 title 咧就係個名啦，譬如 Johnny 咁樣係嘛。嗰個message 咧就係個 mobile。OK， 咁當然你都可以嘗試再click 落去另一啲 item 嗰度 ，Heal Mobile 咁樣啦，嚇或者係 View Mobile 咁樣啦，嚇咁啲 dialog 咧，咁頭先講過呢個係最基本嘅做法啦。咁你可以再加譬如button OK cancel yes 咁樣 whatever， 亦都甚至乎可以再 customize dialog 入邊嗰個樣添嘅。OK， 咁當然呢個亦都唔喺度 include 啦嚇。 得唔得？咁啊，純粹希望做一個好簡單嘅例子俾大家睇，點樣用個 list view 啦，咁啊點樣用個 dialog 啦，咁去show 一紮嘅 information 出嚟咁樣啦，得唔得嚇？OK， that is the demonstration about the use of this example. Once the application is launched, the contact list will be displayed through the adapter view, list view. Okay, how we can get the contact list? As I mentioned at the beginning, we can access a particular JSON file. Okay, after that, we can pass the JSON and then obtain those contact information. Later on, I will show you about the content of the JSON file. Within, for example, the documentation. OK， 嗱咁關於呢個 app 嘅嗰個即係 demonstration 啦，咁你會見到就差唔多嚇。咁我哋介紹完嗰個做嗰個用途俾大家啦嚇，或者當中牽涉到嘅一啲 UI 俾大家之後咧，咁我哋咧跟住就可以再睇多少少關於呢一個application 嘅 details， 例如譬如嗰個 URL 嘅一啲內容啦，係嘛？咁同埋嗰個 project 嘅一個 structure 啦，咁樣咁我哋可以再喺個 documentation 嗰度再睇到嘅，得唔得 ？OK。Okay, then we can now back to the documentation to continue the discussion about the basic information of this sample or example. Okay. I think through the demonstration, you may already have the idea about what we are going to develop. Okay. Simply obtain a or download or parse a JSON and get the data and display with one of the adapter view component, list view. Okay, and then after that, or after studying this example, just would like to have you know about the implementation regarding to JSON manipulation, and also regarding to the UI, I would like to also demonstrate about the use of adapter view, list view, and the dialog. Okay, that is the techniques that I would like to demonstrate with the help of this tutorial example. Regarding to the UI, I think just illustrate through the demonstration. Okay, and then for the JSON file, as I mentioned, it is obtained through the internet, and then the URL is just here. Maybe we can use a browser to illustrate the content to you. Yeah. Okay. Here is just the content of the JSON. Okay. The root element is context, and then it contains multiple contexts. You can see that here. Maybe it contains ID name, and also if you like to have more clearer picture about the JSON, you can have a look on it. Okay, see 嗱，咁嗰個 JSON 咧，我哋求其揾一個先啦，有冇個再比較靚仔啲咧？我揾下先啊，唔係喎，未有個 URL， 不過唔緊要啦。先啊 ，OK， 呢度有唔使上網揾嚇 ，attach 咗啦。Okay. In order to let you have a more clearer idea about the structure of this JSON file, I simply use an online parser. Once you copy the JSON content to the code. For example, with the help of the suggested URL illustrated in the document. Okay. Once you click on the code and you can copy and paste those JSON content to it, and then click to the tree, it will show you the structure of the JSON content. Basically, it contains context, and which is an array, contain 8 elements. For the first elements, or for each of the elements within the context array, it contains totally 6 objects: ID, name, email, address, gender, and phone. For the phone object, it also contains 3 components: mobile, home, and office. That is the structure of these online JSON file. OK， 嗱，咁都俾大家有個概念，個 structure 係點樣樣。咁你要知道個 structure，咁你先至可以做到個 parsing 嘅。如果唔係你個 program 咧，你唔知個 structure 咧，咁你根本都唔知 access 啲乜嘢啦，係嘛？即係就算俾你可以 obtain 到個 file 啦，咁跟住你點樣抄？譬如 email 啊、名啊呢啲資料啦，咁你必須要有一個概念關於嗰個 structure of 呢個 JSON file 嘅。咁所以咧呢度咧，我哋又先交代一下嗰個 JSON 嘅 structure 嚇。咁入邊有一個 context 嘅 array 啦，你見到啊，大括弧你當 object 啦，中括弧係 array 嚟嘅，得唔得嚇？即係呢基本嘅嗰個structure 關於一個 JSON format 嘅一個 file 啦。OK， 咁呢個 context 係一個 array 係中括嚟嘅。OK， just would like to remind you about the JSON structure. Here, the query basis means object. That means for this JSON file, at the beginning, it contains one object. The object is just an array named context. A square bracket is array. Okay. Maybe we can also refer to the raw JSON file. Okay. Query base means object context, and then square brackets means array. Okay. The first element of the context array. The second element of the context array. The idea of the JSON file is like that. OK， 嗱咁頭先都講啦，咁記得啦嚇，即係當你遇到 JSON 嘅時候啦，咁你要知道大概佢代表住啲乜嘢嚇。咁有個大括弧啦、中括弧啦、array object 嚇。OK, back to the tree visualization. Here, within context array, the first element contains 6 objects. ID, content is C5657, and then name Michael, email, address, gender. Okay, the last object of each context array elements is phone, and this object also includes 3 objects, which is mobile, home, and office. Okay, that is the arrangement of this given JSON file. 嗱咁頭先都講過啦，咁我哋要了解個 structure。嗱呢個 structure 就好簡單嘅啫，一入去有個 context 嘅 array， 跟住個 array 入邊有6樣嘢，6個 object。咁而呢6個 object 咧就係名、ID、email、address、gender 同 phone。繼而個 phone 咧亦都包含住3個 object， 分別就係 mobile、home、office 啦。OK， 呢個就係個 structure。咁我哋陣間咧喺 program 上高就會因應呢個 structure 咧，再喺入邊撈我哋要嘅資料，得唔得？ Later on in the program environment, we will use the or we will get the corresponding data according to this structure. Therefore, at the beginning, I just hope you can realize about the structure of this given JSON file. Okay. And then now we can back to the document. Regarding to this example about the project structure, it totally contains 3 Java programs. Maybe the first one, of course, is about the activity program, main activity Java. Basically, it simply assess the layout design, the list view component, and then show the records to it once the JSON is passed and all the context record is ready. Okay, that is the idea of this activity program. And then the second one is the contact info. As its name, you can just consider this program is the manipulation of the contact. For example, it provides function for you to add or store a particular contact to the contact list. Also, it consists an attribute to represent the contact list. That means those records will be stored in this class within these attributes. Okay. That means, according to the so-called MVC architecture, this class corresponding to the model. OK， 嗱，咁我哋又去翻 MVC 嗰，點解我成日都會楞落去所謂 MVC 嗰度咧？咁或者係成日都講呢個所謂 MVC 呢樣嘢咧？咁樣，即係都希望大家可以即係了解到，即係好多時我哋喺develop 即係呢啲 application 嘅時候啦。咁我哋基本上都會用到一啲我哋叫做比較即係 common 啲嘅一啲 architecture for 嗰個 application 嘅 design 嚇。咁比較普遍啦，喺呢個 Android 嘅一啲 application 上高都係用緊一個叫 MVC 嘅一個 structure 或者 architecture 去 design 嗰個 app 嘅嚇。咁所以咧，即係都希望大家亦都係咧有呢方面嘅一啲概念。咁啊，成嚿嘢拆開咗3嚿，成個 system 拆開3嚿。MVC 係嘛？咁個 main activity 就係個 view 啦。OK， 講咗好多次啦。咁跟住當然當中入邊嗰啲logic 會喺 Java 入邊，咁就係 controller 啦。咁而個 layout resource 啦，咁就會係嗰個嘅 view 啦。嚇，咁至於個 model 咧，咁頭先都講過啦。咁就係關於 data 上高嘅嘢啦。咁就係譬如呢一個 program 啦 ，for 呢一個 example 得唔得？咁當然啦，即係譬如我哋之前啲 example 咧，嗰啲所謂 model 啦，咁即係未有咁具體可以好似呢度咁樣突顯到啦。即係舉個例，譬如 temperature 嘅嗰個，咁我哋可能即係冇乜特別所謂 model 嗰樣嘢，係嘛？最多就係嗰啲 temperature 咯，真係嗰個溫度咯，係嘛？咁呢度咧就唔同，呢度即係有一個 contact list 喺度㗎。咁呢個 contact list 咧 suppose 呢啲 data 嘅資料啦，就係關於 model 嘅嗰一樣嘢啦。咁希望大家亦都可以即係掌握翻即係所謂 MVC 呢個概念啊，方便你去做一啲 application 嘅 development 咁樣嘅，得唔得 ？OK。As I mentioned in this program, the layout resource or the screen presentation is corresponding to the view part of the MVC architecture. And then the logic written within the main activity program is corresponding to the controller. Okay. Of course, together with this thread, okay, maybe I explain a little bit afterwards. Regarding to the model, this class contact info is just a model example in this Android Studio project. Okay, actually the model you can simply consider it as the data representation. Okay. The last program is the JSON handler thread. Okay, as its name, it is a thread program. Basically, if you have taken the course UMPS 312F last semester, you may already have the idea about thread, and it is quite common for using thread in native Android application development. Okay, since in this example, why we have to use thread as we have to download and pass data from an online JSON program. Therefore, these kinds of operation as we do, it is maybe a time-consuming task Therefore, thread will be used in order to allow these kinds of operation can be completed in background thread instead of the UI thread, okay, or the main thread of this application. Okay, therefore, I use the thread in this example. Okay. As I mentioned, for this thread program, it is mainly used for downloading and parsing of the JSON file. Okay. Of course, it is part of the controller. 嗱，咁呢度咧都想交代多一件事，就係話 thread 嘅 implementation 得唔得嚇？咁講緊嘅係我哋喺呢個 example 入邊咧，會需要透過 internet 去 download 個 file 做個 parsing。咁而呢啲咧，一般我哋都會係即係 consider 佢一個比較 time consuming 啦，同埋唔知道要做幾耐嘅事情。咁所以咧就嘗試去用一個 thread 幫佢完成，得唔得啊？咁記得啦，即係一啲 time consuming 嘅一啲 task， 舉例呢度，又或者 database 嘅 access 都係嘅。一般嚟講，我哋都會 recommend 用 thread 去做。如果唔係咧，你喺嗰個 UI 去做嘅時候咧，咁就會壓住咗個 UI， 咁冇做唔到反應俾你啊，嚇得唔得？Apart from accessing data through internet, basically, if you would like to access database, it is also recommend you to use the thread component in order to complete these kinds of implementation. Okay. And then for the layout resource, of course, we have the layout design regarding to the main activity program. Okay, for the main activity program, it simply contains or consists of one UI component, that is the list view. Okay, one and only one UI component in the main activity program. Okay, of course, it is reside in the linear layout container. Okay, and then here you can see there is an other layout resource. What is the purpose of this layout resource? It is just the design of each item of this list view. Okay, that means for each item it contains 3 text fields, and then the first one will be the name that display in, for example, a little bit like purple color. The second one is blue color, and then the third one is another color. These kinds of styling and arrangement is described by this view layout.xml resource file. Okay. And then as we also have to access internet in this example, therefore we also have to add the user's permission elements in the manifest file, okay, in order to allow the permission can be granted for accessing the online JSON file. OK， 嗱咁最後啦嚇，關於個 structure， 咁有個 layout 係關於 list view 每一個 item 嘅樣嘅。頭先都講過，咁我哋會係嘗試 customize 嗰個嘅 list view 入邊每一個 item， 就唔係淨係一個 text view， 可能有3個，跟住嗰啲 text 可能有啲顏色上高嘅一啲配置。咁我哋想做翻呢一個格仔嗰個樣啊，呢個格仔嘅設定個 layout 就喺呢度啦。咁就 list view layout.xml。咁另外要 access internet 啦，咁所以我哋都要做埋個 permission 關於嗰個internet 嘅一個 access 喺呢個 manifest file 入邊，得唔得 ？OK， 呢個就係我哋嘗試想做嘅一個 example 入邊呢一個 structure 關於嗰個 Android Studio project。OK。And then after we have the basic idea about this example, now we can follow the given information to construct this example. Okay, At the beginning, I simply open a empty activity Android Studio project. Now we can proceed to include the given components. For example, the layout resource. Of course, as same as the previous example, I will elaborate the detail to you if necessary. Okay. Basically, once we open or create an empty activity project, it provides you the main activity and the activity main XML. It is the default file that will be generated to you. And then now, first, I would like to manipulate the layout of this example. Maybe I change it to split view. I simply copy and paste those content from the document. Okay. And then now you can have a look on this layout resource. The root is linear layout as usual. Of course, you can also adopt other layout manager, okay, if necessary. Within this root container, just one component, list view is add, okay. Therefore, you can see from this split screen, the left-hand side as list view, the item will be list. Okay. It is the simulated display. And then about the width and height. The width is same as the parent. That means the width is just same as the linear layout. And then the width of the linear layout is match the parent, that is the screen. You can just have these kinds of idea in your mind. Okay, therefore the list view, the width is just same as the screen. Okay, and then the height of the list views is just based on the content. Therefore, what content will be assigned to the layout height. Okay. 嗱，咁好簡單啫，一個 list view 就就可以包含晒你所有 list content list 噶啦，得唔得啊？咁闊度、高度呢啲調整，咁我諗講過好多次啦嚇。咁高度跟翻佢個內容啦，即係佢有幾多個 item，咁有幾高就幾高啦嚇。咁個闊度當然跟翻個 parent 啦嚇。咁個 parent 有幾闊，咁有幾闊啦。咁parent 就係 list linear layout， 咁 linear layout 再跟 parent 嘅。咁所以即係個 screen 啦，好簡單嘅一個概念嚇。OK， 咁就係咁啦，呢個 UI 嚇。And then maybe we can move on to construct another layout that is corresponding to the item of the list view. Maybe you can create it, new file. Okay. Layout. In the previous example, I just demonstrate about how to create an activity. During the creation of the activity program, the system also helps you to create the layout. Therefore, once the activity is created, and then two files will be generated to you. In this example, instead of creating an activity program, I just would like to create a layout file that represents the design of an item within the list view. Therefore, what we have to do is to new a XML layout resource. Okay, new and then XML and then layout XML file. OK， 嗱咁呢度咧，都即係咁以蝦你下點樣開一個 layout 啊？咁當然樓上都有啊嚇。OK 一樣嘅冇乜所謂。Actually, you can see there is a other items layout resource file. Basically, you can either use any one of the option. Okay, and then file name. As the content regarding to the layout is already given to you, therefore we can just provide the file name. Okay. and then the content will be provided from the given document. Okay. Of course, you can use the split view.哦，唔緊要啊。嗱咁嗱呢度有少少唔同嘅就係可能我自己本身開個 project 同而家開個 project 嗰個 color 上高有啲唔一樣啦嚇，咁所以咧佢會有啲問題喺個 color 上高嘅。Once I copy and paste those resource content from the document to this Android Studio project, you can see there is some errors regarding to the color resource. Maybe it is due to the project creation. In my computer, the color resource given or after the project is created is different from this one. But anyway, I simply change it according to this example. 唔緊要啊，我照跟翻呢度有嘅，咁我就擺翻佢出嚟就 OK 啦，得唔得嚇 ？OK， 問題不大啊嚇，即係只不過我喺我自己部電腦用嘅 Android Studio 嗰個版本可能同呢度唔一樣啦 ，create 出嚟個 project 佢本身 given 嘅嗰個generate 嗰個嘅 color 嘅一啲resource 都可能唔同咗，咁所以咧我嗰個 layout 啊嚇，咁呢啲原本個 color 咧而家用唔到嚇，得唔得？咁唔緊要嘅，你跟翻佢俾你嗰個，你揀翻一隻顏色，purple 又好，teal 又好 ，black 又好啦，咁跟住改翻呢一個 layout 嘅 color 嘅一個名就得㗎啦，得唔得嚇？咁我就有呢度即係要執翻少少啦 ，OK。Just repeat it again as the colors value in my computer project is different from this one. Therefore, you simply use one of the color or copy the name from one of the color and then replace the one used in the later resource, and then the problem can be resolved. Okay. For this layout, it simply consists of 3 text fields in order to show up the name, email, and address. Okay. With 3 different color. Apart from the color, you can also check set up the font size and font style. Okay, that is the attribute regarding to text field. For the padding, it just include the padding between the item. OK， 嗱咁有啲attribute 嚇，咁亦都係當係嚇，即係冇點樣 explicit 講過嘅，咁呢度都交代下個名啦。Text color 就係出嚟嗰個 text 嘅顏色啦，得唔得？咁跟住就size 啦，咁就係 display 出嚟嗰個 font size 啦。style 煲咗嘅，所以你見到即係譬如個名啦係煲咗㗎嚇。OK， 咁個 font size 大少少啦，比其他嗰啲咁 set 咗做16啊。其他嗰啲就淨係 set 翻個 color。咁個 padding 啦，咁你見到即係喺嗰個 item 同字之間嚇，咁會有啲 padding 嘅出現，即係有啲空間感咁樣啦。我哋叫 padding，OK。And then now we can complete another program which is named contact info. Okay. We can simply create a Java class. Okay, or new. 我揾下個 Java class 喺邊。真係未瞓醒啦，喺呢度揾唔到啊 ，right click 就見到啊，可能我呢啲眼盲啊，不過唔緊要 ，anyway 嚇， 所以你會話 Java class 就得㗎啦。哦，點解我真係盲咗啦今日？New 呢度有冇咧？呢個係 coordinate 嘅呢個 class file 咧都唔緊要啦嚇，係我遲啲揾到再做一次俾大家睇，如果有機會嘅話。Anyway， Java class 啦 new，OK，and then provide the name contact info。And then you can see that the contact info class will be created to you. Okay. And then simply copy those content to the program. Wow, what is it? To the program. Okay. The same problem as I not yet enable the auto input. 咁基本上都係啦，咁佢呢部機本身就冇set up 咗呢樣嘢啊，所以咧我每次開咧都要 set up 一次auto import， 咁就解決啦。OK， and then in this example or in this program, okay, as I mentioned, it just represent the contact information. How to store the contact list? I simply use the array list here. Okay. By using this array list, each contact record will be added to it once retrieved from the JSON file. Okay. Therefore, we have this add contact function. As you can see in this example, there are only 4 information required: the name, email, address, and then mobile. Okay. This information will be input to this function. Of course, this information will be obtained during the thread implementation. Okay, therefore, don't worry about how to get this information now. We can have another program to do this. For each record, which is represented by map, why I use map here? As map can be used in all in the formation of the adaptable list view. Okay, therefore I use map in order to store each contact info. Okay, or each contact record. Okay, as it is used in list view. Okay, for each record we have 4 information. Therefore, we call put function 4 times. The name is put to the map, the email address and mobile is also required to be put to the map. As mentioned, map is using the so-called key value pair to represent an item. Therefore, the put function also requires you to provide the key value, key value, key value, key value. Okay. This kinds of usage is included in the last tutorial regarding to the intent extra usage. OK， 嗱，咁呢度咧就想交代一下啦。我哋啲 contact list 就用個 array list 去 represent 佢。array list 就係即係大家都即係應該聽過呢個名啦。如果學過 Java， 即係一個 list。用 array 嘅形式喺 Java 上高出現，咁裝住 multiple element 嘅，咁就係個 contact list 啦。OK， 喺我哋呢3個嚟講，跟住啦，咁 array list 或者呢個 contact list 入邊有好多 contact 㗎，每一個 contact 咧，我哋就會透過呢個 add function 去加落去呢個 array list 入邊，然後每一個 contact 咧，我會以一個 map 嘅形式去表達。咁點解你會用 map 咧？係嘛？即係都可以用其他形式係嘛？因為呢個 map 咧可以配合嗰個 list view 去用，所以我就用 map 啦，得唔得？或者調翻轉講啦，嗰個 list view 咧就會食一啲 map， 跟住咧將 map 入邊嘅 data 放翻喺嗰個 list view 入邊呢幾個 item 上高，名、email、address， 咁咧成個配合就係咁樣嘅，得唔得嚇？所以咧我就一個 record 就一個 map。咁而用 map 嘅時候咧 ，key value pair，OK 嚇，唔複雜啦。即係如果你有少少關於 set map list 嘅嗰啲概念就唔複雜啦嚇。OK 個 key 當然喺上高跌翻咗啦嚇。At the beginning of this program, those key regarding to the for information are just defined as static attribute. Maybe you can also set it as final. OK 嗱，咁呢啲就唔講究啦嚇。即係你見我都冇搞咁多嘢啦，係嘛？咁正常嘅應該係咁添嘅不過即係我自己都冇再加呢樣嘢落去啦不過唔緊要嘅即係都係啲 Java 上高嘅一啲理論and then after the map has been created with 4 data, we can add it to the array list, the content list finally. Okay, that is the idea about this contact info. That is what I just mentioned, a model component in MVC regarding to this example. OK 咁可能即係我 lecture 上高就冇交代到 MVC 呢樣嘢啦，係嘛？咁但係即係我都希望大家可以清楚翻呢方面都係一個好基本嘅一個設計上高嘅理念即係即係方便大家去理解成個設計嘅原理啦，或者咁講咁或者即係俾大家有個概念，咁應該點樣去 design 咧？咁我有個 app 要做喎，咁就係呢3嚿嘅 MVC 係嘛 ？OK， and then after the illustration of this context info, now we can proceed to another stage, which is the thread program. Therefore, just have to create another Java program. Java class. 真係喺呢度先揾到。And then provide the name here. Okay. And then enter. 頭先冇詳細交代係嘛？我諗呢啲應該都唔需要啦，係嘛？俾個名，跟住撳 enter，咁佢就會幫你開㗎啦。Okay, after you give the name here and then press enter, then the program will be created for you. Okay， 咁頭先我都冇講要撳 enter 係嘛？即係漏咗少少啦，不過都唔緊要啦，係咪？應該大家都可以掌握到Yeah. And then I just place it to the program also. Okay. If you enable the auto import feature, those components together with the one used for JSON manipulation will also be included at the beginning of the program. 咁所以咧，即係記得 enable 翻個 auto import，咁慳功夫好多㗎，你見到係嘛？即係成抽嘢我就唔需要打一次啦，係咪？你見到佢自己就啵咁樣就 create 即係加翻晒啲 import statement 落去就搞掂啦。Okay, and then in this program, just would like to highlight some basic information about the JSON parsing. Okay, these are the package that's used for JSON manipulation in Java or in Android application development. OK， 咁當然即係呢啲就即係嗰啲 package 啦，咁我哋就即係係咁以 highlight 俾你知嘅啫，咁你梗係唔需要理佢啦，你用嘅啫係咪？You can just use it. I just will highlight this for you. OK, but of course you are not required to remember this. OK, simply enable the auto import feature and then the system will help you to get this one. OK. For this example, I mentioned that I have used thread. Okay, I hope that you can realize or understand why we have used thread here. Okay, as we are going to access internet and download the JSON file and pass those data. Therefore, for these kinds of operation, we better use thread to complete it. Okay, and then URL. Okay. it is just provided to you in the documentation. Of course, it is also better to use final. OK， 咁個 URL 喺度 specify 咗啦嚇，咁就有個 tag 喺度嘅。You can see that there is a string named tag. Why I just use this so-called tag string variable? Basically, it can help us to apply the logging in this example. Okay, as mentioned at the beginning, once we have written a program, of course, we have to go through the debug process. Okay, I think if you have experience in programming, you may know that any program, you also have to come across with the debug process. Okay, one of the approach you can use in Android Studio environment is the one same as in Java, use the system.out.println. That is already demonstrated in the first tutorial. Apart from that, we can also use the log, okay, which is also demonstrated in the first tutorial. It is one of the mechanisms in order to help you to log different information. Okay, one of the purpose is allow you to debug your program. OK， 嗱咁呢度咧，咁亦都擺翻個 log 喺度俾大家重溫一下。咁我哋喺 Day 1都教過，即係都唔係教啦即係 demo 過啦咁即係第一個 tutorial 啦。咁除咗我哋可以用翻 Java 本身嘅 system.out.println 呢個做法之外，其實我哋都可以用翻 Android 入邊一個叫 log 嘅一個 system 咁 log 我諗大家都知道係咩啦，即係 log 低啲嘢啦，咁記錄低一啲情況資料咁樣咁即係喺呢度咧，即係都擺低又幫大家重溫一下我哋喺第一個 tutorial 講過嘅一啲即係techniques 咁樣啦咁而你做個 log 嘅時候咧，咁可以擺低唔同，即係要擺低啲嘢啦咁第一個通常我哋叫 tag 嚟嘅咁即係舉個例最簡單啦，邊個 program 有事，咁你就擺低翻個 program， 即係我就用最簡單嘅方法啦，擺低個 program 名啦OK， 咁你可以 identify 到喺呢一個 program 有啲意外喎，咁樣係嘛？咁就係個 tag 啦。咁跟住 message 啦，係咪？即係舉個例即係個概念最簡單，你可以咁樣諗就係邊個 program 有事，有咩事咁樣OK， for using the log, one of the simple approach is to provide two inputs to the log. The first one is the tag. Basically, you can just consider it as, for example, the program name, okay, or the source of the problem. Okay, I mean the file source. Okay, for example, I just simply use the name of this program. Okay, that means when the log, once errors happened, and then you can refer to the log, and then based on the tag, you can have the idea about that this program incur a problem. Okay, what is the problem? The second arguments to this log, okay, the error message. That is the idea about using log in Android. Okay, and you can refer to the log details by using logcat, and I think I already demonstrated this at the first tutorial. Okay, therefore I have defined a so-called tag string at the beginning of the program, just used in the log. Okay, in this program it consists of 3 methods. Of course, one of them is the run. Maybe I will discuss with you later. Before that, I just want to share with you about the make request first. As mentioned in the documentation, this make request just use the provided URL and then connect to the internet and retrieve the JSON file. That is the idea of this make request. Actually, you can simply combine these 2 functions, input stream to string and make request to one function. Is also fine in this case, but I just simply separate into two and would like to demonstrate about the process. Okay, the first one is just simply read the JSON file from the internet. Okay, make request. URL, form the URL object, and then use the HTTP URL connection in order to connect to the specific URL. Okay, and then send a GET request, and then the JSON file will be obtained from the response to this GET request, and the content will be included in the input stream object. This one, I mean.嗱，呢個就係第一個 function， 即係你可以將 make request 同埋 input string to string 咧夾埋一齊㗎。啊 ，OK， 我咪做錯，係緊要。OK， 呢個同呢個input stream to string 同 make request 其實係可以 combine 嘅，不過咧，即係我都想俾大家清楚翻，其實係兩個 process 嚟㗎。咁connect to internet， 咁攞翻個 JSON， 跟住同做個 parsing 咧，即係你咁睇啦嚇，可以係兩樣嘢啦。咁所以我拆開咗兩個 function 啫。OK， 咁呢個 function 純粹係攞個 JSON 落嚟嘅啫，攞完之後咧。會喺個 input stream 入邊儲低咗嘅 ，OK， 咁當然啦，嗰幾句都冇咩特別啦嚇，咁你上網 search 到嘅呢啲嘢嚇，咁當然我都係即係揾翻嚟啦，係咪嚇？即係我唔會無啦啦走去背呢啲咁嘅嘢啊，係嘛嚇 ？OK， 咁我 copy and paste 有啊呢啲嘢，咁 URL 啦，跟住 connection 啦，跟住 send request 啦，咁跟住 get 啦，咁就可以撈到嗰個 JSON 㗎啦。咁就會儲咗喺個 input stream 嗰度，咁跟住咧再拆翻佢入邊嘅內容咧，就下一個 function 啦。OK， that is the idea for this make request function. Simply make connection to the specific URL and download the JSON file, and then store it in this input stream object. After that, we have another function. By using this input stream object and then get the JSON content and then parse it, okay, within the run method. Okay, this function mainly obtain those content from the input stream and convert it to string. Okay, therefore, I just mentioned that you can simply combine these two functions together. It's also fine. Okay, how to obtain the textual data from the input stream? You can simply use the readline method. I think this readline method is already used in the CMPS 312F. Okay, if you can still remember it. 嗱，咁嗰個方法都即係冇咩特別啦，都係 readline 啦，得唔得 ？OK， 咁呢啲之前見過㗎啦。buffer reader 就我諗下先，都應該有講過嘅，咪即係有用過啊嚇，即係當然我哋又唔會深入討論呢啲 I/O 啊嚇，因為成個即係 program 啦，即係我講你哋讀緊呢個 computing 啊嚇，咁基本上就一路冧上去嘅啲嘢，即係關於 Java 我意思係嚇，咁2022、2023應該教過 I/O 啦，咁所以咧喺312咧，咁我就冇好重複再將啲 I/O 拎翻出嚟再講一次，咁就純粹用嘅啫。咁去到呢度咧，咁當然都唔會再講 I/O 啦，係嘛？咁所以都係用嘅啫。嚇 ，OK， 用個 buffer reader， 跟住 call 個 readline， 跟住就可以將入邊嗰啲 data 咧就變翻做 string type。OK， just one component used here is the string builder. Basically, in the previous example, for example, in the previous semester, I simply used plus operator in order to concatenate several string, okay, directly. Basically, instead of just manipulate string contents through string type variable, in Java, it also provides you a class called string builder. Okay. And also we have string buffer. Okay, but not used in this case. String builder just provides you function, for example, append, in order to help you to concatenate to a string. Okay. In this example, just use string builder in order to manipulate string content instead of just use the, for example, plus operator. OK， 咁呢度交代多一件事啫，咁就係關於嗰個 string builder。其實咧，我哋喺 Java 做 string 嘅 operation 咧，咁你話除咗即係都打少少啦嚇。OK， 咁你話可以係就用個加號去做個 concatenation 之外啦，其實咧都可以用一啲 class 同埋 function 去做呢啲嘅嘢嘅。OK， 咁當然呢啲係大家最常用㗎啦，加號係嘛？咁只不過咧想即係都係啦 illustrate 呢樣嘢就係 string builder 都可以做到。咁譬如呢度啦 string builder， 我哋有個 SB， 如果我哋想將即係一啲 string 啦，咁加落去 string builder 嗰度做 concatenation， 我哋有 append。OK， 得唔得？咁所以咧，譬如讀咗一行翻嚟 append 嗰行，跟住下一行啦，再 append 個斜 n。OK， 就係咁咯。即係或者我將佢演繹變咗做是但即係等大家容易啲去掌握啦即係咁樣嘅啫。line 啦，類似係咁樣啦。即係如果你變翻做大家即係常用嘅一個形式If you just use string for manipulation, in this case the concatenation, you can just simply use this. Okay. One of the advantage in using string builder is the performance. Okay, basically, if you have number of string concatenation that has to be complete in string, then use string builder may provide you a better performance instead of using these kinds of implementation. OK， 即係題外話少少啦咁點解用 string builder 咧？咁因為佢快啲啫OK， 即係performance 上高表現得好啲咯即係你用呢個加號係做到㗎，其實即係嗰個效果，我意思係個 result 係一樣，只不過嗰個 efficiency 會比用 builder 低。如果你有大量呢啲concatenation 嘅工作要做嘅話咧，咁用個 builder 會比較有效率啲，點解咧咁呢個就係點解呢度用個 builder 咧？因為你都唔知嗰個JSON 有幾多嘢，咁如果多嘢嘅話，咁個 builder 就會做得快少少嘅。OK， 咁都係嗰句呢啲題外話啦，係咪？關於嗰個optimization 即係唔係呢一個即係 cost concern 嘅 issue OK， 題外話嘅意思就係咁。OK，of course in this course we are not focusing on the optimization. OK，just provide you a basic idea as it is used in this program. Okay, and then after that we have to close the file, close the script. Sorry. Okay, after all the content has been retrieved and converted to the string, and lastly return the string content. As we are now using string builder to hold all the string contents. Therefore, after the JSON has been read completely, we have to convert the string builder content to string. We have to call the toString method. OK， 咁builder 嚟噶嘛，唔係 string 嚟啊，佢入邊裝住 string 咁解嘅啫。咁所以咧，最後你要轉翻做 string 就 toString 咯。咁真係一個 string 嘅 content 啦。OK， 咁就 return。Based on these two functions, the JSON content is now download in string format, and then you can pass it. The string passing is written within the run method. Okay, therefore at the beginning, just call the make request function, and then within the make request function, you can see that we also convert the content in string format and return it. Therefore, we have the first statement written in this style. 咁啊，第一樣嘢當然係 download 咗嗰個 JSON 落嚟先啦，係咪都唔使講咁多嘢啦嚇。Okay. And then just use the log to show about the JSON content. Okay. And then we now start the parsing of the data from JSON string content. OK， 咁跟住開始做 parsing 啦。咁一開始梗係要 download 咗落嚟先啦，係嘛？即係儲翻落去個 string 度，咁跟住咧就 pass 啦。咁啊 pass 嘅時候，咁當然又係用啲 API 啦，係咪？咁呢啲都係 API 嚟嘅啫 ，JSON object 係咪先？嚇。As I mentioned, the parsing of the JSON should refer to the structure of the JSON file, maybe here. Okay. The first one is an object. Therefore, we have to call the get JSON array. It's array. Okay. As I mentioned, square bracket is representing an array. Therefore, we have to use get JSON array here. The array name is context. That is this one. OK， 嗱咁呢度咧都俾大家去係咁依掌握下啦，點樣 pass 入邊啲 data。咁佢一開始有一個 object 就已經係個 array 啦，咁所以咧一開始就 get array。OK， 嗱咁你要知道認清array 係呢個方括弧啊嚇，咁所以咧就 get JSON array。咁個 array 嘅名係咩 ？context， 你俾翻個名佢得㗎啦。OK， 好簡單嘅啫，呢啲照對㗎咋嚇。咁有啲乜嘢，咁你咪攞啲乜嘢咯。有個 array， 咁你就攞個 array 就得啦。OK，that is the first idea. And then, as it is an array, therefore you have to use for loop in order to traverse all the elements. Okay. Context is the array. The size, the length is length. It is a function. Okay. Therefore, we have to use bracket. 嗱，咁 array 都唔使我講點樣用啦，係嘛？呢個 for loop 由頭 loop 到佢落尾，咁點知佢有幾多啊？喺 JSON array 呢個API 入邊咧有個叫 length 嘅 function， 你 call 佢又知有幾多嚿。譬如呢度咧就會有8個咯。Okay, for example, in this example, for the JSON file, we have totally 8 elements with stored in this context JSON array. Okay, therefore the loop here will be iterates for 8 iteration. Okay, and then for each context, we have to get the particular object. Okay, then we have to get JSON object through the number or index. The first array element gets the object, and then the second array element gets the object, and then within the context, the object, we have number of information. We can simply use the get string to get the ID, name, email, address, and gender. Okay. As I mentioned, not all the information is required to be used in this example, but I just would like to show you how to get those data. Okay. For example, ID, gender is not used. Okay. But I also provide the approach how to get this ID and gender in this program。嗱，咁呢度咧 ID 同 gender 都冇用到㗎，咁所以你見到佢淺灰色咗啊。不過咧都即係想完整地攞晒啲資料俾大家睇啦，得唔得 ？OK。嗱，咁呢啲係 string 嚟㗎，咁咪照攞咯 ，get string 就得㗎啦。你只要 get 咗個 JSON object 跟住咧個 object 入邊咧就攞到你要嘅 string 啦。呢個係成嚿一個，你當一個 object 啦。OK， 呢個括弧啊，得唔得？有6樣嘢，呢個 object 有6樣嘢咁就 ID 名、email、address、gender。當然第6樣係咩嚟嘅咧 ？OK， 第6樣咧，咁都係一個 object 嚟嘅喎，叫 phone。OK， 咁所以咧，我哋今次咧先 get 咗個 phone 嘅 object 先。OK， 嗱咁如果其中一個 object 係 array 咧，又要 get array 啦，你 get JSON array 啦。OK，if one of the object within, for example, an object is an array, you can also apply this get JSON array function in order to get the array and then use the same approach to get information within the array. OK， 咁要睇翻個 structure 咁可以 array 入邊有 array 嘅，咁你咪 get array 入邊再 get array 咯。就係咁啦。OK， for this example, as the context array elements do not include any other arrays, therefore you can simply obtain those information by using get JSON object and get string. Okay, that is object within object. Okay, therefore after we get the object, we can get another object nested to the outer one。嗱，咁呢度純粹顯示咗個 object 入邊有 object 嘅做法啫。咁 object 入邊有 array 咧，咁你就喺入邊再 get array 啦。OK， 嗱咁呢個咧 phone 咧都係一個 object 嚟嘅，咁所以咧我哋就再 get 多次 JSON object， 咁就叫 phone。跟住咧喺入邊咧咁你就可以留翻 mobile、home、office 呢3樣資料啦，咁就齊晒咯喎，係嘛 ？OK， that is the idea about how to pass a JSON file. Of course, the structure of this JSON file is not complex. Okay, but hope that it can provide you a basic idea about how to pass a JSON file. Okay. Once again, it depends on the structure of the JSON form, JSON file. 咁當然呢個唔係一個好複雜嘅一個structure啊，不過都希望俾到大家個概念點樣去攞入邊嘅資料。咁當然 depends on 每一個JSON 嘅 response 嘅，其實得唔得？唔同嘅 response 個 structure 唔同咧，咁你就要有唔同嘅一個parsing 嘅一個program。舉個例，呢個係一開始係個 array 嚟嘅，咁有啲一開始唔係 array 嚟嘅，咁都係 object 嚟嘅，咁你就要 get object 啦，係咪？OK， 咁跟住呢個係 array 嚟嘅 get array 咯，跟住每一個 array element 入邊咧，咁就有個 object 6樣嘢啦，咁先 get 咗個 object 關於嗰個 array element， 跟住咧就 get 嗰6樣嘢，只不過咧頭嗰5樣就已經係 data， 第6樣咧 object 嚟嘅喎，所以第6樣就變咗做 get object 就唔係 get string 啦，個概念就係咁樣樣OK, basically, maybe I repeat a little bit again. As at the beginning, this JSON contains an array. Therefore, I simply call get JSON array at the beginning. Okay, maybe other JSON response will not include array at the beginning. Maybe simply an object. Therefore, for those JSON response, you may use the get JSON object at the beginning of the parsing. It totally depends on the JSON response regarding to different API. Okay. And then within the array element, there are totally 6 objects. Six, okay. 6 elements, okay. The first 5 is simply string content. Therefore, for the first 5 ID, name, email, address, and gender, we can directly get the data through get function. However, for the last one, which is another object, therefore, after getting those first 5 data, for the last one, we have to call the get JSON object again. Okay. After we access this phone JSON object, then we can get those data by applying the function get string, similar to the first 5 values. OK， 咁希望大家明白到呢個架構嘅做法嚇。咁一開始碌入去每一個 element 嗰度，跟住咧就透過 get string 攞到頭嗰5樣嘢，跟住再用翻同樣嘅手法攞埋 phone object 嗰3樣嘢，得唔得？即係你會見到攞頭5樣嘢同埋攞 phone 入邊呢3樣嘢個手法係一樣㗎。OK，get object，get object。get string，get string， 只不過唔同層次啫嘛，所以碌入去多一個層次就係要 get 多次 object 咯。OK， 就係咁樣嘅概念。After we obtain all the data regarding to a specific content, then we can use or call the add content function in order to put the name, email, address, and mobile to the content list. Okay, that's the purpose of this thread class. That is how access internet to download the JSON file. Afterwards, pass the JSON file. Okay, through this tutorial example, I hope I can provide you an basic idea in Android application development regarding to the JSON manipulation. Of course, it is just one of the approach to complete the group project. Okay, you can still use other approach, for example, the web approach. Okay, lastly, complete the activity program in order to show up all the information that just store to the content list represented by this content info program. OK， 嗱咁頭先嗰個 thread class 你見到啦，最尾就已經每一隻 contact 就加咗落去個contact info 呢個嘅 content list 入邊㗎啦。OK， 咁得 call 呢個 function 加咗落去㗎啦，嗰4個資料。咁最後啦，咁我哋完成埋個 activity program， 睇下點樣 show 佢出嚟嚇。As usual, we also need to declare the UI object as an attribute, and then within the onCreate method, we have to obtain the object reference regarding to the list view, and then 我抄咗先啦嚇 and then create the thread program and start the thread program, and then wait for the completion of the thread. And then now on, we 先漏咗中間吸漏咗啲嘢we create the adapter, and then later on I will give you a brief elaboration about the use of the adapter. Okay, don't worry at this moment. And lastly, okay, maybe I'll just complete the program first. Okay.嗱，咁佢有時咧就maybe I elaborate a little bit about this error. Sometimes some of the component may come from different package. That means more than one package supports the use of alert dialog. Therefore, the system or the Android Studio will allow you to select which package is used in your program for supporting the use of the alert dialog. Therefore, it may not automatically provide the import statement to you. Okay. Therefore, maybe you can click alternate enter and then select the package that you would like to be used in your program regarding to the use of alert dialog。嗱，咁呢度咧就補充少少啦嚇，咁就係話，咁有時你見到佢，點解我 auto import 都 enable 咗啦，仲有問題嘅咧咁樣，就係話有啲嘅 API 啦，可能咪有啲嘅 component 啦，可能唔同嘅 API 都 offer 嘅喎，譬如 alert dialog 你見到有得揀嘅，咁所以咧，咁你撳 alternate enter 就會出咗呢樣嘢，跟住咧就可以揀啦，得唔得？咁你揀邊個，佢會幫你 import 翻對應嘅嗰個 ，OK。咁呢個就係點解我 auto import，但係佢都 prompt 有個 error 喺度咧咁樣嚇。咁呢個就係嗰個概念，咁要揀嘅有時嚇。OK， after I just simply copy and paste those content to this Android Studio program. Maybe I give you some idea about what I have just completed. Up to this moment, I think we have done a number of times, okay, about the UI setup in the activity program. And then start the thread, okay. And then once the thread is started, I just would like to wait for the completion of the JSON parsing. Therefore, I call the join function. Okay, basically this function is already discussed in the S313F, but I think most of you already forgot or even do not know I have touched this before. Okay, therefore just provide you a few words regarding to this function. 佢唔俾我做冇加exception handling 啫。Okay, this function just would like to wait for this thread complete and then proceed to the following, for example, UI display. Therefore, I use this function here. Once I use this function, it should be provide the corresponding exception handling. Okay, which is just this one, interactive exception. Okay. Once I just handle this exception, I think the problem can be resolved. Okay. 好啦，咁開 thread，咁佢梗係要完咗，咁我先出結果啊，係咪先？咁所以咧，咁我用個 join 啦，係咪嚇 ？Wait notify 都得嘅 ，OK 嚇。咁佢未完，咁我冇嘢可以做喎，即冇嘢要顯示啊，係嘛？我意思係，咁佢都未 download 完，又未 pass 完，咁你何來有 record、有 data、有 contact 咧？咁所以我完咗先啦，好啦。Okay, after the thread has been completed and then the contact list is ready, now just would like to provide you the implementation of the list view. Once you would like to use adapter view as its name, it is associated with the adapter. Adapter is just a class in Android environment which allows you to convert list of data to list of item in adapter view. Okay, for example, here I have list of the data. That is the content list. Okay, the raw data. I would like to put it in the list view. Okay, how can I do that? Okay, in order to simplify the listing process, Android environment provides you a so-called adapter class. Okay, simple adapter is just one of the adapter class you can use directly. Okay, this adapter class can help you to convert those listed data to 咩上嘅問題啊？To the list, to the item of the list. Okay. That means if I would like to apply those data and then set each record to an item of the list view, then we have to use adapter class. That is the idea about this so-called adapter class. 嗱咁adapter view 顧名思義，我哋就用 adapter class 幫我哋去完成啦。咁究竟點解同埋佢有咩用咧？咁就係話嗱，我哋有個 data list 啦，就 contact list 啦，咁有好多隻 record 啦，跟住我要擺佢出嚟喺個 list view 入邊，每一個 item show 一個 record 喎，咁樣係嘛？咁點算啊？咁佢咧就俾咗個 adapter 幫你做呢樣嘢啦。咁個 adapter 所以咧就係話幫你將一個 list 入邊嘅每一個 item 放出嚟嘅，舉例 list view 啦嚇，放出嚟個 list view 嘅每一個 item 上高，咁你就可以見到啦，係嘛？咁呢一個 transformation 咧就係 adapter 可以幫你做到嘅工作，得唔得？咁如果唔係你都唔知點樣，喂，第一隻 record 擺第一格，第二隻 record 擺第二格，係嘛？即係你冇理由自己寫個 program 做呢啲嘢咁蠢㗎，咪當然都可以啊嚇。OK， 咁如果你要再做 further 嘅 customization 咧，咁就要咁做啦。咁但係咧，即係而家我呢個嘢係簡化版啊，即係我純粹就搬過去嘅啫。咁照字搬過去，名、address、email， 逐隻咁搬出去，冇乜嘢 customization 要做嘅。咁咧就有個叫 simple adapter 幫你。咁你擺低啲嘢啦，當然係嘛 ？OK， as its name, simple adapter, it can help you to provide a simple transformation about changing the data to an item of the text view, list view. Sorry, OK, simple adapter. OK, you can directly use it, and then the system can help you to convert the data to an item and display to the user. What you have to provide to this simple adapter, the first one, of course, is the data list. I mean the contact list in this example. Okay, apart from the context. Okay， 咁你梗係要俾個 data source 佢啦，係咪？呢第一樣嘢。第二樣嘢就係嗰個樣啦，嚇個 layout 關於嗰個 item。If you have customized the item layout, you have to provide it to the creation and initialization of the adapter, okay, as the third input here. The layout, list view layout. And then the last two, just a mapping between the data source and the view item within the layout. Okay, that means you have to put the name to the text view with ID name in the layout. Email, address. Okay, the data map to the UI component. That is the usage of the simple adapter. 咁呢度見到咧，最後俾啲咩佢？一個 mapping 嚟嘅啫。我就要翻入邊嗰三個資料，名、email、address， 用個 map 俾個 key 佢，撈翻個 data， 跟住 set 落去嗰個 UI list view layout 入邊嘅名、email、address 嘅 UI component 嗰度。OK， 咁所以呢個咧係一個 mapping 嚟嘅。即係點解我哋要用 map 啊？因為方便你做呢個 mapping 咯。That's why we have to use map in the contact list for each contact. It just helps you to provide the data that can be used in the adapter to map the data to the corresponding UI component. OK， 咁呢度咧就即係希望大家有個概念點樣用啦啲嘢。 即係點樣配合個 adapter 同嗰個 adapter view 啊？我意思係呢個係最簡單嘅用法，得唔得？就係你有一個嘅map 就裝住一隻嘅 record， 跟住你個 list 咧就裝咗好多個呢啲 map， 跟住咧我哋喺 create 呢個 adapter 嘅過程啦。咁頭嗰兩個即係撇除咗 this 頭嗰兩個就好簡單啫，個 data source 跟住個 UI， 跟住尾呢兩個咧就係個 mapping。OK， 咁我就淨係要名、email 嚟address 呢三個 information 嘅啫。咁呢個就係嗰個 information 嘅嗰啲 key 啦，係咪？跟住佢 base on 呢啲 key 咧，就逐隻 map 喺你個 content list 入邊咧，就抄翻嗱呢個 key 攞翻個名啦，呢個 key 攞翻個 email 啦，呢個 key 攞翻個 address 啦。跟住咧就 map 翻落去，擺喺邊啊？攞完係嘛？咁你都要擺出嚟噶嘛？擺落去嗰個 layout 入邊嘅 name 嘅嗰個 UI 嗰度，咁又對啦嚇。name 即係呢個第一個 ，email 係第二個係嘛 ？address 係第三個，咁咪對翻咯。喺嗰個 content list 入邊每一隻 map 嗰度，透過條 key 攞咗個名擺落呢度。攞到個 email 擺落呢度，攞到個 address 擺落呢度，就係呢個 adapter 去幫你做嘅嘢啦。咁所以咧，最尾呢兩個咧就係幫你去透過啲 key 啦，攞翻你要嘅 data from 個 map， 跟住將啲 data 咧再放翻落去對應嘅嗰個 UI 上高，得唔得 ？OK。After you have created the adapter, of course, you have to associate the adapter to the list view. Okay. Otherwise, it is just two separate components, do not have any relationship and association, and cannot perform those transformation for you. Therefore, after you have the list view component and then you have created the adapter object, then you have to set the adapter to the text list view object by using this set adapter function. Okay, that is a creation of the adapter and the list view object. Lastly, we have to handle the item click event. Okay, for the item click event, it is just the implementation by using the listener and then the callback method on item click. Okay, as you can see that there are multiple records will be displayed. Therefore, we have to determine which record has been selected. As the user or you select any item within this view, this list view, this function will also be called. Therefore, we have to determine whether or which record you are currently selected and how you can get this. You can base on this input parameter position. For example, the first item, the position is 0, and then 1, 2, 3, and so on. Therefore, based on this position, you can determine which item has been selected by the user. Okay. Therefore, this position can be used as the index and then retrieve the data from the content list. I mean the content. Okay. 0 is the first record. 1 is the second record. Therefore, just use the position together with the get method, and then you can retrieve the corresponding content from the content list. That is how you get the content based on these events handling. 咁我哋個 handling 咧，咁呢啲神就唔討論啦嚇。咁你 click 任何嘅一個 component item 都係 call 呢個 function 噶啦。所以咧，佢就俾咗個 position 你話俾你聽，喂，咁邊一個 item 你 click 咗先？第幾個position 就第幾個，零就係第一個。OK， 咁點解咁重要咧？咁就係話咧， 咁你有10隻 record，舉個例嚇，譬如呢度8隻啦，係咪？喂，咁我都要知我而家係邊一隻 record 要 show 翻個 mobile 㗎，係嘛？咁所以咧就有個 position。咁所以咧對翻啦，點解我用 array list 咧去做一個contact list 咧？就係因為咧配合翻呢個 position 嘅 information， 0就係 array list 嘅第一隻 record 啦，對應嘅啫。OK， 因為你用個 adapter 嘅時候咧，佢都係對應咁幫你去放落去嘅咋嚇，即係話睇先，唔係呢度啊，喺嗰個嘅 adapter 嗰度啊 ，OK， 佢都係跟翻你嗰個 contact list 第一隻 record， 咁咪就係第一個 item 咯，第二隻 record 就第二個 item 啦，配翻成件事咧，所以咧 position 其實就可以用嚟作為一個 index 去撈翻邊一隻 contact 嘅，咁當然都係 in 一個 map 嘅 format 啦，得唔得？就係成件事咁樣去做一個配合。我哋有個 contact list in array 入邊，每一個都係 map， 跟住呢個 array 咧就可以成個擺落去個 adapter 嗰度，佢就會幫你逐隻 record 拎出嚟，跟住逐隻 record 入邊嘅嗰個 map 咧，再 base on啲 key 撈翻啲資料 display 翻喺嗰個 UI 每一個 component 上高，名 email address， 跟住我哋喺 event handling 嗰度咧就 base on個 position 啦，咁就可以知道邊一個位置嘅 item click 咗，跟住根據呢個 position 呢個位置咧就會當為一個 index 咁樣啦，咁去透過個 contact list 攞翻一個特定你揀咗嘅 contact 出嚟，當然都係 map 啊嚇，然後再 base on 呢個 map 咧攞翻個名啦，攞翻個 mobile 啦。跟住就可以做個 dialog 啦。咁 dialog 嘅做法好簡單嘅啫 ，builder set title set message 咁就完㗎啦。跟住 show 咁佢就會出嚟㗎啦。咁當然要 create 啦嚇 ，create 完再 show。OK， that's why we have arranged the model or the data in array list. OK, and set up to the list view. As we can base on the position to find out the corresponding contact that's stored in the contact list. Okay. And then after you retrieve the contact in map format, and then you can use the key name and mobile to retrieve the two data. Okay, in order to set up the dialog, the name and the mobile. For the dialog configuration, we first use the builder. Okay, to set the title by using the name, and then set the message by using the mobile. After that, after the builder has been created, and then you can use the show function in order to display the dialog. That is how we create and set up the content of the dialog in Android environment. Okay, and also, lastly, please be reminded that you have to provide the corresponding permission within the manifest file in order to allow the program to access the internet. OK， 咁記得最後唔好漏咗呢個嚇，咁就 access 唔到個 internet 嚇。OK， and that is what I would like to demonstrate to you through this tutorial. Basically, through this tutorial, I hope that you can have at least one approach that can be referred in order to help you to complete your group project. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, it is just provide you the basic component, okay, for you to handle the project. Of course, your project is now going to complete its radar information. Okay, therefore, you have to search one of the appropriate API for you if you find that the tool in the documentation that provide is not suitable for you. Okay, and then after that you can follow the structure of the API with response, and then obtain the information and then display it. Okay, and then you can basically get a pass grade for your group project. Okay, of course, if you have to get higher marks, you have to provide more feature regarding to the final product. OK， 咁呢度咧就即係希望俾到一個最基本嘅一個即係 component 俾大家去睇到點樣做到一啲 JSON 嘅 parsing。咁 at least 你都會有一個 approach 可以去refer， 咁就完成嗰個 project 嘅。咁當然即係呢個係最基本啦，即係你要再揾翻一啲 API 關於 Radar 嘅，如果你覺得即係喺 document 俾你嗰兩條唔啱用嘅話，咁亦都要跟翻嗰個 JSON 嘅 response 去改翻，咁究竟點樣攞到入邊嘅資料？咁但係都即係起碼有少少基本嘅一啲 information 俾到大家，希望嚇。咁關於呢個 lab 咧，我要講嘅嘢咧就係咁多啦，得唔得？Basically, the demonstration about the tutorial example here is completed, and hope that you can understand about the content regarding to the, for example, JSON parsing and the using of the adapter view, the list view here, and also the creation of the dialog. Okay. And due to the time limitation, maybe I have to end this tutorial section now. If you have any other further query, you can let me know through email. Okay. Once again, thanks for your joining to this tutorial section, and we have a lecture and tutorial on next week. OK， 好啦，咁最後咁我要講嘅嘢講晒啦，咁亦都時間嘅關係，未必有時間俾大家可以喺個 chat room 度上高問到嘢，咁所以咧，如果大家有問題可以email 啦，或者係留待下一次譬如啲 lecture 嘅 section 啲 break咁樣再問都得嘅。OK， 得唔得？咁我而家就要完啦因為要有另一個 section， 咁我要準備。OK。